this past week, I was on a panel at a mastermind, and one of the questions that was asked of the panelists, everyone up there was making over six figures, was how do you balance your work and your family? And I think this is such a good question, and it was so helpful for the people that were there, and I thought it would also be helpful to everyone else. I definitely have some hot takes on this question. And so, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell you actually what worked for me and actually what I have done, not necessarily what you should do. These are going to be decisions for your family. And without knowing you personally, I cannot give you personal recommendations. Now, if you're coaching with us, we would talk through, right, a lot of these things, and then I would give you some personal recommendations. So, I want you to take what's helpful, leave what's not, and I also want to do a disclaimer acknowledging I guess I'll call it the privilege that I have. So as we walk through these things, there are some variables that may not be in the mix for you. I want to acknowledge that. I don't want you to throw away the whole episode simply like because the life circumstances are different. But all of these actual things that I have done over the past 10 years, I am very, very grateful that my husband is totally on board. He gets it. He believes in me. My mom lives 4 miles from me. She was working full time and commuting, but over the past couple years, she's been retired. I quit my corporate job. I was commuting an hour to an hour and a half each way back in 2016 in January. At that time, Zoe was 6 years old and Haley was 4 years old. They are now 13 and 16. Zoe has started driving, and obviously that makes things easier and they're more self-sufficient now that they are teenagers. But I will tell you, every single one of these philosophies that I'm going to share with you, while the practicality of them has shifted a little bit over time, although not much, they have been the same all the way through since I was working in corporate America and since I left my job. Now, one of the major reasons I left my corporate job was to have better work-life balance. So what happened is back when Haley was one or so, I had a health condition that put me in the ICU. They actually thought it was lymphoma. It was pretty scary. Turns out it was like some weird, very rare autoimmune situation that ended up relatively resolving itself. Due to that health condition, I was put on a work from home accommodation because of the deep fatigue that I had. And so for 6 months, I worked from home. I worked my corporate job. I had employees about, an hour's drive away. I had some in Vegas. I had one in Hawaii. I had one in Arizona. So I had people all over the country. So even when I was going into the office, half my team was local and half of my team was around the country. So I kind of already knew how to do this. And when I was a Cutco manager, it was basically like a lot of, phone call management. And so I already knew how to do this and my team's performance increased. The decrease in stress that I had for not doing that commute, I was able to work out, I was able to eat better, I was able to do my job actually more efficiently without micromanaging my team members and like being in their space all the time, and everybody was happier. My director at the time just closed there, was just like, I'm in Phoenix, you're in Southern California. The work from home accommodation expires. He said, you're crushing it. I'm not going to look. And so he allowed me to keep it. And I would just go into the office once a week, once or twice a week. And then there was a massive reorganization. This was the reorganization in which Karen, my business partner, her location was closed. She was laid off and they switched my department and I got a new director who's a wonderful person. I have a lot of respect for her, and also she's a massive rule follower, and she's like, I see all this, and also I'm a massive rule follower, so I'll go back to the office. I couldn't unsee what I had experienced. And with my kids at that time being maybe 2 and 4, maybe 3 and 5, I was like, I want to work. I want to work full time. I want to have my career, but I don't want to spend 2 hours of my day, even if I just like doing nothing. I could reinvest that into actual work and get better results, or that could be, time with my kids. It's not the work that's the problem. It was the commuting to work that was the problem. Also, I was salary capped. Also, there's not, the company was going through a lot. So there really wasn't room for opportunity. And also they had just laid off one of my best friends. And that made me really, really mad. So that's like the origin story that most people don't know about how I decided to start the company anyway. And so what I really wanted is I didn't want daycare to raise my kids. It really wasn't about making all the money, although I knew that if I worked with the best people that I knew, we would do really well. We would make a big impact. But it wasn't really all about that. I wanted to make, what I was making in my career. I was even okay with making less because I wanted to make sure that my kids were not in daycare until 6 o'clock because I knew that that would be exhausting for them, exhausting for us, and I knew that would take away opportunities. And so that's the context of me leaving my corporate job to start my company. I saved for a year, like we were psychopaths to be able to take the hit of me leaving my job. One of the things that helped me with the confidence of leaving my job, even though had not replaced the income, is I knew I had sales skills. The worst case scenario is I could go back and sell knives at 50% commission, still make $100,000. It would obviously not be moving forward necessarily, but it would have accomplished my goal of being able to give my kids the opportunities that I wanted to give them while having a meaningful career. And so it was with that context that all of these philosophies were formed for me and our company. I always intended to work full time or three-quarters time. It wasn't ever a side hustle. It wasn't ever a nooks and crannies thing. It was, this is my career. We are a two-income household. Our financial priorities include tithing, giving generously. We want to save for retirement. We want to pay for our kids' college. They don't need to go to, an $80,000 a year school. We want to make sure we have that. We don't want to be in debt. We want to save cars, normal stuff. And we live in Southern California. So it's with that context, I'm going to share with you some philosophies here. The first philosophy that really helps shape all of this is it's not my business or my family, it's my business for my family. And this was important really in the beginning and, as I've explained in the context. But I remember sitting down with Zoe. Zoe was 5 years old at the time, so in kindergarten. And guys, kids understand a lot more than we give them credit for. I think we've gotten into the babying of them. Now, yes, I did, put ointment on Haley's boo-boos the other day. And what we describe as babying varies, I think, based on how we were raised. But in this case, I just really feel like kids understand a lot more when we communicate with them and we explain to them why than we give them credit for. So I sat down with Zoe. Haley was way too young. And I said, okay, I'm going to be working my, normal thing. And on Mondays, I'm going to stay at work until 10 o'clock. Dad's going to watch you. And then on Saturdays, I'm going to work on this from when I wake up till after lunch, and Nani's going to watch you, my mom. And I'm going to do this on my lunch breaks. And my goal is that by the time you start first grade, that I will not have to drive to the office. So I'll be able to work from home. Guys, Zoe was 5 and their eyes like teared up, and all they did is they just said, "Thank you, mommy," and giving me feelings right now. Gave me this huge hug, and I was like, oh, yeah, this business is for my family. And everything is for them, right? So all the profit that comes through the business is for myself and the family. It's not a vanity metric. We know exactly what the money's for. Growing our business and increasing our family's wealth isn't some arbitrary, like, keeping up with the Joneses or trying to win some imaginary game. It's not about accumulating more. Our goals for the business and profit and wealth and all of that have to do with like some really simple things. We want to be able to give generously to those who are in need. We want our kids to be able to have access to education, mentoring, competition, teamwork, opportunities that will give them skills to be successful in their life. We value safe cars. We value healthcare. We value saving for retirement. We value, not our house being fully like remodeled and perfect all the time, but like our house was built in 1989. It's kind of falling apart. So we value, having a roof that doesn't have leaks, walls that don't fall down in the backyard, things like that. And those things cost a lot more money than we would like to admit. And so our business is for the family. It's not the business or the family. The second thing that has really helped, or the way we do it is, and I'm going to show you this if you're on video. If you're on audio, it's not a big deal. But I have this list that I make at the beginning of every year. And it's a Foursquare. You don't need to worry about exactly what it looks like, but it has goals, my 2026 goals. And there are goals in every area of my life. So I have personal goals for me. This is like what makes me tick. I have health goals, I have business goals, and I have relationship goals. Those are the big areas of the life. And so, personal goals, I have things that I want to do, like play basketball, maybe read some books, right? Health goals, keep my blood pressure normal, be strong, so establish a strength habit. I have my business goals, like my revenue ones, and client goals, and those are normal. But I also have a whole section that's relationship goals. And right now, what they are support kids volleyball, either a date or a double date with Charlie each month. I think actually this year I changed it to 6 to 10 times a year because he's been going up and seeing his parents more often. Friend time once a month and have a couple of pool parties. And those are actual goals. But not only do I have goals, my family has goals that are relatively similar. Obviously, the kids don't have business goals, but they have work goals or school goals, right? And having all of these goals written down means we can coordinate how we spend our time. I think one of the hardest parts about this concept of balance is it's never enough. It's not more time with your family, more time with your business without a clear definition of success. Then we will never attain it. We'll always feel like we are less than. Right now, we're coming up, as I'm recording this, we're coming up at the end of the quarter. And so we haven't reset goals, but we're in this like weird middle period where we finished the last quarter, haven't started set the new quarter, like detailed goals. And yesterday, I finished most of my work except for one video I wanted to record. And so I was like, I'm just going to go to the gym and I'm going to work on that this today, Saturday morning, when I had a fresh brain. And I thought that was so great. And then at like 7:30, I started like going, I should be doing more. Am I not doing enough? And I think that the reason that happened is because I haven't reset a definition of success. I just have a running list of ideas that were torturing me. And that is a way to not be balanced. And so now here I am with that running list of ideas. Like, let me close some of these loops so I can function. It's not the best balance. My kids are asleep. They're going out with friends today. It's all good. But having a clear definition of success and actual goals in our personal life and in our business allows me to allocate time to the things that are truly important. This really leads into the third overarching principle that I'm going to spend a little bit more time on, which is knowing and being really, really clear on my role as a parent and what kind of parent do I want to be? What's my job? What's my job as mom? I think that a lot of us, without making an actual decision on what I want my job as mom to be, might just pick up how we were parented, or maybe the idealized version of a parent. And the truth is we can't do all the things. And trying to do all the things is going to create stress in our home, right? That is actually not good for our kids. And so really thinking about what does this look like? So the number one job that I have as a parent is, this is very Indian, but I think it's important, food, shelter, education. So they need to have healthy food, they need to have a good, safe home, and they need to have opportunities in education. Those are really, really core values. And so it is my job to help provide that. What we envision for that is not something that's going to operate on a single income. So we're a dual income family. And that is a decision that we made, and we're good with that. I am not like living in both worlds. I'm going to have a career. I had maternity leave and I just went crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I do not work, I'm going to take all of this energy and all this like coaching energy and performance management energy, and I'm going to shoot it right towards my kids. It's going to be really hard for them. So it's actually better that I have a place to put all that energy into as opposed to them. So, paying the bills And I think relational stability is also a big part of my job. And so what that means is having a home that feels like home base, that is not stressful, that they can come and no one's freaking out. No one's trying to control them. They get to rest so that they're strong for when they go out into the world. And a part of all of this is paying for the opportunity, but also providing that emotional safety in the home so that they want to take opportunity, that the opportunity are their choices. They don't feel pressured into that. And I think that's important. I also need to take them to the things and do the things that are important to them. And I think when we're our parents or any leaders or in any relationships, we want to give people, even if I just look at my marriage, I want to give Charlie the things that I want to give him. That's different than what are the things that Charlie wants me to give him. Those are two very different things. So I want to give Charlie a lot of attention on his birthday. Charlie does not want a lot of attention on his birthday. So this creates a lot of drama because I go to all this work and get all worked up, stressed out, allocate resources to give Charlie this thing. He didn't even appreciate it. That creates a lot of stress. Like, I could consider that to be ungrateful, but he's like, you never even asked me for that. And so, one of the things in this whole idea of what is my role as a parent is actually talking to my kids and asking them what is important to them. Going on field trips is not important to my kids. And so, I have not ever done that. I know that's a big dream for a lot of parents. I know they want to be that person. I know a lot of kids like it. My kids personally, I've asked them the question. They are not that interested. Okay, cool. I can take that off my responsibility list. What they are interested in is coming to their games. But what's so interesting is that they have different opinions on it. Zoe, totally fine with me not going to all the games. Most of the games is good. If Charlie goes, if there's one parent, that's fine. When Zoe was playing high school, I was like, I can do home games, but not away games. Zoe's totally fine with that. No big deal. I'll come home and tell you about it. Here's what's kind of funny. So my business partner, Karen's going to be in town in a couple weeks. And during that time is going to be Zoe's volleyball banquet for the club season. And it's going to be a big thing because Zoe's playing up. So it's a bunch of seniors. And I was like, okay, what do you want to do? So he's like, you don't have to come. I was like, are you sure? What if you get an award? I'll still have the award. I'll come tell you. Literally does not care if I am there or not. Now, that doesn't mean I shouldn't be there, but I think it's just an interesting point that I could be busting my tail all the time to go to these things, be extra stressed out, and then not be able to do other things that they actually do care about. Now, Haley, on the other hand, is like, I need you at every single one of my games because I want you to give me stats. I want you to tell me the truth about how I played. This is important to her. And so as Haley goes into high school and both kids are going to have 2 games a week, I'm actually going to adjust my schedule so that I can attend every game, which Zoe will be playing after. So Zoe will benefit from that at Haley's request and maybe work a little bit of Saturday time in order to make up for that. And so understanding what is important to our kids, what matters to them is a huge thing. I had a client where, she was really in this, like, I'm not doing enough. So why don't you just go ask them. She asked her husband, what do you need? Maybe if we could just hang out in the jacuzzi once a week, but don't worry about cooking. I actually like to do the cooking, but she had this idea in her head from her family. In order to be a good wife, she had to do all the cooking. But he's like, I like it. You don't need to worry about that. All I want is that we can hang out in our jacuzzi. Talk to the kids. I need to spend more time with my kids. I need to spend more time with my kids. Talk to her 7-year-old. If we could just take a walk once a day, that would be great. 15 minutes. It's so interesting when we ask our people what do they actually want from us, how that is actually so much more manageable than the expectations we put on themselves. So that's kind of a lot of words for saying I am going to deliver on the things that are important to them. Number two, I need to be really clear on what is the money for, right? So that I understand that the business is for my family, so it doesn't just creep into like never enough, wanting more. The next thing that I'm clear on when it comes to my role is I'm a role model for their dreams. More is caught than taught. One of my previous clients that I had the privilege of working with several years ago for a few months, her daughter is one of the youngest professional women's soccer athletes ever. And at this time, Olivia was in junior high. And we were talking about this whole concept in the mastermind that I was leading about work-life balance. And she said something that I'll never forget. She said, my daughter knows she can accomplish all of her dreams. And the reason she knows that is because she's watched me accomplish mine. If we truly believe more is caught than taught, for us to put our dreams on the sideline in order to support our kids' dream is actually the opposite of what they need. What they need to see is they need to see all the steps of someone trying to accomplish their dreams. The triumph, the heartbreak, the resilience, the way we encourage ourselves, the way we learn, how do we get better? Those are the things that our kids are going to pick up in order to do their dreams. And so while I don't sit down and do their homework with them, they watch me work and they see the diligence that I have, and they've adopted that diligence, not because I told them they had to, because they see that that's what it takes to be able to create their dreams, whatever those might be. And the last thought that I have on this topic of being clear as my role as a parent is a leadership philosophy that I adopted when I was young at work, and I've carried a through line through this, and it is, I will not do for you what you are capable of doing for yourselves. My goal with my kids is to raise independent adults that go out there and make the world a better place. If I want to raise independent adults, I need to be intentional about making sure they are not dependent on me, and that I don't have my need to be needed and need to be wanted, and those like self-esteem things, that I don't put those into the relationship so that they're dependent on me forever and ever. And so as they've gotten older, the responsibilities have shifted and things have gotten easier for the most part for me and Charlie. So when they were young, they couldn't do laundry, but as soon as they were able to do laundry, they were doing their own laundry. When they were babies, obviously I had to feed them. But once they got in elementary school, they were quite capable of making toast, cereal, whatever. Zoe makes their own eggs now, right? The kids can cook a couple of meals, and so they can pitch in once a week if necessary. We have a grocery store nearby. They can walk there, get whatever. So there's really looking at, I'm not going to do for you what you can do for yourselves. And so that means that, right, Haley takes the bus home from school. Could I go pick her up? Yes. Would it be cool to pick her up? Yes. Will that impact my work? Yes. Will that mean that I will need to work in the evening or more? Yes. Does that take away from actually what Haley wants, me to drive her to practice? Yes. And so we have an agreement that you take the bus, and so then that way I'll be able to take you to practice. And it's a good deal and it works out for everybody. And so we have like re-engineered this as the kids get older. Well, what are you capable of doing? And so it's not unreasonable. It's just like, if you're capable of doing it, do it. And I'll continue to do things you're not capable of doing, like paying for club volleyball, driving you to Arizona, helping you with your boo-boos when you had a breakout from your volleyball pads, helping you manage your anxiety, right? Like the things that they're not capable of doing on their own, I can really step in and I'll have the energy for, because I'm not doing all the stuff that I don't need to be doing. The next overarching concept is a structure equals stability. So this comes back to my perspective on my role as a parent to be about relational stability, to make the home safe. And so my structure, my schedule is the same. I wake up, I drink some coffee, I journal a little bit, I get like all the thoughts and everything out of my head so I'm not overwhelmed for the day. Set some intentions for the day, get some exercise, and I am working by 8. I am done. I'm going to go over the practical side at the same time every day before dinner. Dinner will always be made if, we'll adjust based on the practice schedule. And so it has that structure. Like, this is just how our family runs. I have basketball on this day, you have this on this day, and we have that structure, which creates stability so they know exactly what to expect, and they can work around my schedule and I can work around their schedule. We can all make it work together. Which leads to the last one, concept, and then I'll get into some practical terms. Teamwork. Teamwork. The kids don't help me with things. I don't help them with the things. The way I look at our family is that we are a group of 4, and if you include Buttercup, 5, because Buttercup has goals too, even if she can't verbalize them, we're very clear on what they are. Our team is a unit working together to make sure or support each other, or whatever word you want to use for that, support each other in each other's dreams. Charlie's dreams, my dreams, Haley's dreams, Zoe's dreams, and Buttercup's dreams of eating liver treats. We support those as well. So we operate in teamwork. And this has been really cool to see play out because, again, I think the kids can do so much more and they want to. And when I have a chance to interview them on this concept, I think you'll be really encouraged by their thoughts and have a lot of respect for this generation, because while they might not, revere the older generations the same way we think they should, their willingness and desire to contribute as equals is not exactly the right word, but like whatever they can contribute is really, really cool. And so what that looks like is that Haley will rebound for me so I can practice my basketball shooting, and Zoe will toss balls to Haley when Haley wants to practice hitting, and Charlie will work overtime to help offset some of the club fees, and Zoe will drive Haley to practice so that I can work on the business now that Zoe can drive, right? And so it's all this like we all know what each other's goals and dreams are. And so we operate as a team on what can we each do in order to move everybody forward instead of my job just being to make their dreams come true or to be their servant or whatever some of the, weird parenting styles are out there. So what does this look like in, oh, one other thought that I have here kind of up in the notes. Part of the role modeling is to be excellent at my work. And because I want them to be excellent in their work, so I must be excellent in my work. I can't shortcut it, right? And expect them not to shortcut it as well. Another note that I kind of have here randomly is that a lot of people really talk about traveling a lot. I have no intention on traveling. I want to be here with my kids. I want routine. I want structure. I believe in stability and structure. And so you will notice that my goal is not traveling the world. My goal, I love my coach, Sarah, and she wants to travel 2 weeks a month. I do not want that. I want to travel as little as possible. And, I do have the travel that I need to do for work, and I'm happy to do it, but that's not the goal. My goal is to be here. And so having intentionality around that is really important. Okay, so in some practical terms, what does this look like? My schedule, I wake up at 6, I mope around in bed for longer than I should. So about 6:30, I'll come down, have some coffee, have some eggs. I'll write in my journal, I'll go for a walk, or I'll ride the bike. I'm usually my brain is on for work somewhere around 7:30 to 7:45, or maybe I start writing some content before my real day or whatever starts at about 8. I typically work till about 4:35. It's a little bit better when I don't have to go like drop off for a 6 o'clock practice, right? Because I don't have to start dinner until later. So I'm working a little bit later now till about 5:15, or maybe before it was more like 4:30 or 4:45. But that's my schedule. That's my schedule Monday through Friday. Then I'll make dinner and drive someone to practice or pick someone up from practice. Now with Zoe driving, this is changing and I'm kind of adjusting to that situation a little bit. Another thing that's practical is I do all my work during my work hours. I do not work in the evenings. I typically do not work on the weekends. Now I'm recording this on a weekend because I have nothing better to do. The kids are going to sleep and I have this thing that I want to make and it will make me feel better to make it for you. But I have no apps. I don't have my Facebook app on my phone, no Messenger, and that keeps me from working when I shouldn't be working. And so that when I'm with my kids, like at dinner or whatever is going on, I'm not checking my phone looking at work. Now, I might get texts from one-on-one clients here and there, but it's pretty few and far between. It's not enough to even, clock for my kids. As far as school pickup and drop off, Charlie took Haley to school this past year. So they got a little bit of time because he commutes to work, so he doesn't get to chat with her. So he wanted to do that. So he did that. She takes the bus home. For Zoe, we had a carpool with two other families. So Charlie did a couple days of drop off. I did a couple days of pickup. And so we've always tried to carpool. So that's good. Here's one that people think are really weird. And that is that Charlie is the one that takes the kids to all of their dentist, doctor, and ortho appointments. And people are like, what? That's crazy. But you work from home. I'm like, yeah, but I work on essentially commission. Yes, we do get paid salary out of the business because our business is large enough. But at the end of the day, right, I'm responsible for the revenue. And Charlie has paid time off through his work. He gets paid to take the kids to appointments. And so the whole time we've been working, when it comes to that kind of stuff, Charlie's actually the one that takes off. That's a huge mental load off my brain. And he's their dad too. And so that's important. He has, over the course of the year, he gets like 6 weeks paid vacation. So what is he going to do with all that? He's going to take care of his kids because that's what I would do with 6 weeks vacation is I would take care of my kids. So he gets to do that too. Carpool and bus, I've already talked about. And so from a practical perspective, that's how we do it. When Haley had practice 4 to 6, Charlie would take her on Mondays because he's off on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, my mom would take her. And that's it. It's pretty simple. We try to keep it really, really simple. The most important thing about this is the work that we do to keep work time, and family time, family time. Those are separate, those are time blocked. I don't do a lot of nooks and crannies stuff unless there's really nothing going on and I have a creative idea that I want to sketch out, like this video this morning that I'm doing. And that's ultimately how we balance the family and the work stuff. I want to just like wrap up. I'll go ahead and just do a quick summary here. And then also, I want to let you know that I just want you to take what's helpful and leave what's not. I don't think there's a lot of conversation around this. A lot of coaches or business owners or, people that are mentors in the field just kind of like post about stuff, but not actually dig into the details behind it. And so I know this is a long episode. I hope that it was really encouraging for you, helpful for you, or just exposes you to some thoughts that'll help you to, honor your business better. I want you to treat your career business as a career versus a side hustle. And when we give our family the honor that they deserve and we give our business the honor they deserve, then we're right. And, it's going to go better. One thing that I didn't address too much was those of you who are working full time, have a family, and are trying to build a business. And I'll go ahead and address that really quickly. My perspective on that is to go like Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, so that Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday can just be for you, your health, your family. I think that's something that's manageable. Working every single day, I just do not think is manageable. Will create burnout and stress. That doesn't really help move the business forward. So I just still think it comes back to time blocking and knowing when you're working on your business and when you're not, and when you're with your family and when you're resting, so that you can just be present where you are. Quick recap: business is not business or family, business is for family. Number two, have goals in all areas of your life along with your family so that you can coordinate. Number three, know your role as a parent. You don't have to choose what I chose, but whatever you choose, choose that and be good with it. And structure equals stability. And that is something that our kids need in a pretty chaotic world right now. Hope this was helpful for you. Let me know what you found helpful or if you have any questions. And if you would like personal coaching on this, along with the other things in your business, we would love to chat with you about coaching programs and how we work with people. So I guess that's it for today. Talk to you later.